All right. Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Dress Like Rappers podcast.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Shinobi Toby, aka Young Sinatra, YS, whatever you want to call me.
Yes, sir.
And today's a special day. We have our first guest. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. He's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a few years now, so this is a big deal, seeing this happen. So go on in and introduce yourself, my friend.
Oh, man. So my name is Plamedi. I am a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
I am, so that's a multidisciplinary artist. I
Right.
own this art company.
Just explain that to the people
Right. So
who don't know.
A Renaissance man is a multidisciplinary artist. So in a real conventional way, think of somebody like a Kanye West or a Childish Gambino. That's really easy way to explain it. Because
Right.
that way it's like, so I have this art company that I own.
Right.
Called Distant Future. It's an art company. So through Distant Future, we do film, poetry, fashion, lines, everything. So, yeah, and then also I make music, like Renaissance Man.
Of course, yeah. He's gonna plug himself right in Renaissance Man.
Yes, sir. Renaissance Man coming through.
Stay tuned for that.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So tell me how you've been going, man. Like, what have you been doing for the last couple of months? And
it's been a crazy journey. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Right.
Like, okay, so one of the first things that I did is I got in touch with one of my manufacturers to get the Distant Future fashion line coming.
Nice.
So this is one of the bomber jackets that's coming out.
Right. And would you like to plug that your fashion line?
Yeah, like I said, everything is made by Distant Future. Like everything is in house. So we take care of operations ourselves. We try to outsource to the right people who we think can get the job done and stuff.
Exactly.
And then we team up with them and then work on great pieces. So
Good.
I did this with this manufacturer who's in, I believe, he's somewhere in China. I forgot the name. It's Tenzin, something like that. And it's we linked up to do this bomber jacket, and then we were able to get broker a deal for the rest of the season and stuff. Right. So I'm excited for that shit. It's gonna be lit.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
It's kind of what we focus on.
Yeah, so we were kind of chatting it up before. We were we could have been capturing what we were talking about before, but I guess today. So I guess we're gonna be talking about music. You're a music man.
Yes, sir. I'm an art man.
You're an art man, of course, Zach. You don't stay in one lane. You try and diversify yourself. I'm the same way as well.
Yes,
I'm a photographer. I try and do videography here and there.
Filmmaker too.
I'm a filmmaker as well, exactly.
You screenwrite?
I screenwrite as well. Yeah, I'm a writer. I'm a writer, so I can kind of add that to the list. But I'm telling about your music. You just kind of go through the journey from your probably point A to where you are today, and how you've grown as an artist as well. I'm just kind of tell the people what's up.
Man, okay. So my journey started in 2019.
Good. Yeah.
So I've been doing this music thing for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
4 years now. So I never wanted to make music.
Yeah.
Was in a different type of lifestyle, in a different type of world, and just never thought about that. Never seemed something that I wanted to do.
Right.
And then I came here to Windsor. I was in a different city, different energy. I was going through a transformation internally, spiritually, as well as a person.
Right.
So my consciousness is waking up, my awareness is waking up. And I think that was the life-changing thing for me is awareness. Because you can get more smart and shit, but you can be smart and do some evil shit.
Facts,
you know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
smart don't mean good.
Yeah.
So I became more aware of things, and I started understanding my responsibility in the ecosystem.
Exactly.
So that's the best way of putting it. So it's started in 2019, started making music. The first song that I ever made was really I'm gonna just be honest with you, man. The first song I ever made was a suicide song, bro.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
I was in a really low point in my life.
Right.
I had lost everything. I lost the girl who I thought was gonna be with me forever.
Right.
I lost my family. We kind of fell out. I was going through homelessness.
Yeah.
I'm in a new city, so I don't know nobody. Yeah. So it's you really thugging it out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta do what you do. So I'm going through all of that, and then I'm just in a really low place. I'm 18. 19. Right. So like it's even worse because like you feel less equipped about the world. You don't know what to do. No school program prepares you for this.
Yeah, nothing. That's sorry to cut you off, but it's like that's one thing like school doesn't prepare you for, like the mental health side of it. Like you think like, oh, you know, life is gonna be easy. I got this college degree, whatever. I'm doing my thing. Yeah. You know, you're working towards something you're not even guaranteed to get. Let alone like I said, like having that mental health, you know, aspect to it, and a lot of things that they don't talk about these days, and I think that's nowadays, especially us as men, we do have to talk about that. Ooh, and
us as black
have
men,
our, bro. You know, have our as a black man, because
like, bro,
you know, we struggle a lot.
With you, I'm Pan-African, so I see us as African men.
Exactly.
But like us as African men, like we do have to get to a point where we realize that materialism is important. We live in a material world. Let's not fuck around. But if we are basing our validation off the materialism, I'm gonna just say like that's not our culture.
It's not.
Bro.
It's not.
That's not our. We don't seek our validation from material things.
Exactly.
Our validation has always came from like a higher power.
Exactly.
Our understanding that we're here for a moment.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah. We like you agree. Yeah, we are here for a purpose. It's our goal is to discover that purpose, and it doesn't have to be in the things that we can get physically. Like there's things like, you know, love, support, you know, things that, you know, are intangible, are the things that we should be able to strive towards, you know. And another thing is like success, and trying to grasp that success and do what we have to do to get to that point. So
I got a question to ask you now, like on what your definitions. I'll get back to this thing on like my music journey, but like really quickly, like I do want to ask you like your definition of success and stuff.
To me personally, I think success is peace. To be honest, peace of mind, peace that, you know, what you're going through, you know, like, you know, the two shall pass. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you get to a place where you're not worrying about anything like money, you know, love, like any of that. Like you kind of found all that value in yourself, and not trying to constantly strive to what people are like trying to like set you in. Like success is a very, I believe, a broad term, because like everyone finds their different levels of success, and we find our peace, you know, in different ways. And I feel like that getting to that place of peace and comfortability, I believe is, you know, and like doing what you love as well. I think that is a form of success.
I think that's like a super underrated form of like thing that we don't. It's like you spend like 70% of your life at work. Like you would think that you would find a job that you really love that you're gonna do. That's what. But anyway, so so I started 2019. That's kind of like where I started my music thing, and then I progressed to drop the real EP, which was my first EP. So like I said, when I first started, I started just like because I was making a suicide song. I was like, yo, I'm gonna make this. My homies can have this or some shit, or my family, whatever I was thinking at the time. And I remember I put that song on SoundCloud, and everybody at the university was hitting me up. That's how I like linked up with Kahame. He knew about this shit. Everybody. So it was a moment of like, oh, like this shit low key might be bigger than you. And it was weird, and it was like it wasn't even a lot of streams. It was probably like 500 streams or something like that. It wasn't a lot, but just to someone who's never made music, never even thought about this, don't know nothing about the industry, nothing about nothing. I'm just looking at this like, people give a shit? Like what? Like, exactly. So that kind of started that, and then when I started making the real EP, I'm in this really like weird place in my life, right? So like, I'm going through homelessness. I'm going through all of these things. So the EP is rather somber. Has the dark title in front of it and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very dark, but it's like a lot of beautiful things were happening in that moment. So that's why the EP is called Real, which stands for Realize Everything, Always Live. Because at that point we had lost Mac Miller, Nipsey Hussle, and XXX.
Exactly.
So we were all kind of going through it, and when I made that EP, it was like a message for myself, but it was also like a message for all of us. Like, yo, realize that like things always continue after this. And Nipsey would say the best with his death is that the marathon continues.
Facts.
So when that happened, like I made the real EP, and I'm just gonna say this to make it short, because I was like, Fela Kuti always said something that I always keep in mind. Fela Kuti said, music is something not to be played with.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't understand that until I dropped the real EP, and people would hit me up like, yo, this song stopped me from killing myself. Yo, I was in this situation, I stopped doing this. And that's when I was like, oh, this isn't just like some shit that I make at the club and then I get my check and get the fuck out of here. Like, it really is how people gain their perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
The background music to their life. Like, you are present in their life even if you think that you're not present in their life. And it made me like kind of change the direction. So then after that I would do Road to Renaissance, man, because I had this vision for this album called Renaissance.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this EP to kind of let people know, like, yo, like this stuff was here was cool, but like this about to spank y'all.
Yeah, definitely.
So dropped the Road to Renaissance song. We did all the those. We did the shows. You were there for them.
Yeah, I was there, man. Yeah.
And then next is to kind of like do Renaissance, man. So like on a music tip, that's what I'm doing right now, is focusing on this album, finishing the mixing and mastering, and then just really delivering what I believe is a great body of work that defines me, defines where I am in my life, and man, I just hope y'all have fun as much as I have fun fucking making this shit. Know? Honestly, like that's the biggest thing I was making artists. Like, I just hope they enjoy this as much as we have fun making this shit. Exactly.
Yeah, no, even to go on that, like, just music in itself, it is a very powerful, like, in an avenue. It's like, I feel a lot of people wouldn't be where they are if they didn't have that music to listen to, even if it's just wordless music, lyricless music. They have something to kind of like sit back, relax, even studying. Some people like to throw like lo-fi beats, whatever.
I was just
something calming. To kind of keep their spirits, at a calm level. Or if they like the hype music, get a hype song, get
something
rowdy in the club.
You
know what I mean? Like, the other day I was at the club and it was just like the different songs and the vibes, kind of gets things going. Like, you can get someone a little up tempo, kind of upbeat.
You get that Future song in the club, bro. You in there,
you
bro.
Feel
like,
you kind of dancing, doing your thing.
Mask on, like, I feel you. I super feel you.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, but so the next topic, we're gonna talk about success. We kind of dived a little bit into it, but based off my definition now, what is your definition of success?
I like what you said, so I'm gonna kind of put it in the general term of what you said. I've already come to a decision for me of what success is. I think that me being an independent artist, it's very important for you to define who you are and define what your worth is right away. We're talking about this in the car.
Right.
So for me, I've realized that success is fulfillment.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
When I look at that word peace, like, to me, that's what peace really means, is to be fulfilled, meaning that you do not want more and you don't have less.
Facts.
You have just enough. Like, I always kind of think of it like as a waiter in a restaurant, right? Like, you just ate your meal and they come like, yo, would you like some dessert? And like, I'm blessed, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's where I really want to be in life, where I know that I'm giving it my all.
Facts.
I'm getting my just due return that me and God have kind of sat down and spoken about. But it's really just being fulfilled, not only in and this big thing, success to me does not just mean success in my career. You are not rich if your family is not rich.
Facts.
Especially as a Pan-African, like, that's super big for me. Like, it's our wealth, not only as black people, but just like as human beings, is from family.
Facts.
I say this all the time. You know what they say? What's the thing they tell us in school? They go, "Hey man, don't mix business with family, man. Don't mix." But then you look at all the richest people, all the people who control the institutes and systems that we in.
Their families.
So somebody lied.
Yeah, so someone's saying something, and to piggyback off of that, it's like, think about the richest families, like the royal family, and different, like the dynasties are kind of behind, the countries that we live in. The children of the children, like, that are like kind of running the behind the scenes, are people that are family oriented. Like, they got that family, and that's one thing about the importance of getting that generational wealth, is that you can pass it on, so you can create these like dynasties, behind the scenes, kind of running the things behind, kind of getting that machine well oiled and kind of going, because that you can create that. We can do that for ourselves. We can create our own little islands or whatever for people to.
I will say this, just to kind of add to your thing, because I was talking to Ak about this yesterday, and I was like, this is super real, is that, like, again, I'm going to speak about our people, because humanity as a collective, I love us, and we still got our things to do as a collective, but African people, what we consider as black people, African people, we're part of the world too, bro.
Very much so.
So when we get better, the world gets better.
Exactly.
So I hate this whole thing like, oh, you guys are doing your own separate thing. It's like, what are you talking about? When we develop, everybody develops.
Everyone's developing.
So it's like, to kind of look at it from our perspective, right? It's like a big thing that I'm looking at, just again from the perspective of somebody who like went through dumb street shit and then like try to find myself along the way. It's like, man, like, you gotta live long enough to actually get to those plans that you're talking about. Niggas, bro, I know Barry Street niggas talking about your generational wealth. Nigga, bro, look at the lifestyle you live. You think you're gonna make it to 45 so you can get that Billy you talking about?
Exactly.
So I started realizing that along with mental health, and I think something that actually will help us with mental health is learning diet.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this from like a talking shit, like I'm some super savant who knows vegan. I'm not, but like, I just started peeping that like, you can't talk all this generational wealth. You gotta live long enough to get there. All these white folks that are rich as shit, they own the shit. They own the shit, bro. We dying in our 30s and 20s, bro. So it's like, nah, bro, like, if you really here for the long run, for real, then you gotta prepare for that marathon.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
And even onto that is just like, the biggest thing that is killing, especially black folks in America, isn't even like the gun violence and like the gang culture and all that. It's the food industry. Like,
Hendrick talked about this on Mr. Morale.
You know,
they overskipped him, dude.
I think heart conditions are like the biggest like killers in the black.
And, like, diabetes
are the highest killers in the black community. And it sucks because we're put in like the worst of the worst. We're in the ghettos, in the hood, or whatever.
With all and food deserts, exactly. They don't give us good food.
They give us good food, exactly.
Like,
and the healthy stuff is already like, you know,
super pricey. And it's all the way over there.
Exactly.
Like,
so we're not even getting to that point. We have to get the government cheese. You got to get the government food stamps. They give us the worst of processed foods and everything.
And we still turn that to gold. They be coming back to our kitchens like, what y'all making over there?
Exactly. And that's what we got, like soul food. But even then, it's like, that's the cheapest options we had. We had to grow our crops. We had to grow greens. We had to grow the corn to get the cornbread. We had to do all these things, like, you know, to kind of develop our own, you know, sense of identity. And even like in like different cultures, like, you know, just African cultures and Caribbean cultures and like different, like, we're kind of spread out everywhere. So we kind of had to make do with what we had. But the biggest killer, I would definitely say, is that the food industry and how it kind of screwed us over. Like,
I was wanting at like one point to that Pan-African thing that you said right there about like how we're all kind of spread over. It's like, I do this thing on Twitter called Sacred Space. And like, there are these different type of, like, you know, you have spaces on Twitter now, so I do my own of them. And one of the conversation we had was on Pan-Africanism. So I invited a bunch of different speakers. I got Guru, and then we also had like people like Paul Sisler, who's like a politician, and different type of people to come together. And when I sat down with them, we all came to the realization, Guru said something, he was like, what are some of the similarities when it comes to the African diaspora? One of the biggest similarities that I've noticed right away from us is that black people, African people, are humanist and socialist.
Wow.
It's like across the whether you look at hip hop before Diddy came in and did what Diddy, you know what I'm saying? But like before he did what he did, like if you look at everything that we've ever organized that became something and like lasted the test of time, it always came from a humanist and socialist perspective. Hip hop is about peace, love, and unity. Those are the three
three main.
It's not get money. It's peace, love, unity, and just having fun. So when you look at those, you start realizing that African American, African Caribbean, African Chinese, still African.
Exactly. At the
you
end
can
of
be
the
whatever
day.
you want to be.
At the end of the day.
But what we all got in common is that at the end of the day,
we came from the motherland, and like, it's one thing like I never want to deny is the fact that we came from like we came from Africa. Like, we came from the continent of Africa.
The richest continent in the world.
Thriving. You know, it may not be the biggest, but it's the most thriving, the most prominent. The most money comes from there. Like, literally all of South Africa literally was like colonized because of the fact of how much resources came from it. The oil industry sets up camp currently in Africa right now, and even like the Afrocentric, you know, areas as well. They're kind of like spreading out and getting the gold and the mines.
From Congo, just like what they do with Colton. Colton powers your electronics, your laptop, everything that we're doing right now. Only possible because of those Congolese miners that are going in there to get the coltan for super cheap labor.
Yeah, right, exactly, and exploiting the cheap labor and all that. That's another topic for another day. But
just before we get to that, that's the one thing that I was kind of find weird is like, I don't mind if you're like, oh man, African people like need to develop and we need to industrialize. Right. I get that. You're absolutely right. That's how colonials. That's how they got us because we didn't industrialize.
Exactly.
So I get that. But for you to be like, oh, African isn't contributing, it's like, no.
Whoa, yeah.
We are contributing probably the most.
Exactly,
out
the
of
most.
Everyone.
Exactly.
Culture, economics, philosophy, like. Yeah, your religion that's been influenced by Africa.
Exactly.
Like, come on, bro.
Exactly.
So we definitely up there when it comes to that. I think our next step is organization.
Yeah. Agreed. Even like the thriving cultures. Like I can only mostly speak from the American perspective because I am born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Southern kid. Shout out the 404.
Yes, sir.
From the Americans' perspective, like there are a lot of like towns that could have been thriving. I think there's the park. I think is it Central Park in New York. I forget the, but there's the big park in New York where it was meant to be a black thriving town, but they tore it all down and turned it into
I super believe that.
I need to do my research and kind of get that out. So they'll take my word for it, but kind of take what I say, kind of do your Google research, kind of do that. But the PLS like that had thriving black forces behind it because with the limited resources we had, we took advantage of and we tried to make black centric black schools, exactly, blacks, exactly,
like
exactly,
like that, exactly, 100%.
Have different ways we can thrive. So,
and it's crazy just to kind of continue that and continue the next question on success is like one thing that I was gonna notice is like us as black people, like they always talk to you about how many times black people lost.
Ooh, man, all the time. That's just all we hear.
That's how many times all we hear. How many times we know how many massacre towns there is. We know about Black Wall Street.
Right, exactly.
But how come they don't talk about how many revolutions we won?
Yeah, exactly.
Like how come they don't talk about how many successful black businesses we had in the middle of Jim Crow, in the middle of segregation, in the middle of all these. And this is just an American thing. Yeah. Again, this is an African. It's in us. They can't keep
all the black minds that are the driving forces behind a lot of what we have.
That's why I will say this though to bring it to American because you said American.
Yeah.
As a Pan-African, as like a native African, or like a continental African. I would say this is like African Americans have always been at the forefront of the revolution when it comes to like the freedom of African people.
Exactly.
We cannot like people be like, American people, no. These brothers over here be doing a lot of work, because we as African people, I'm keeping it honest, like as Congolese people and people of continental Africa, we were going through so much colonialism that we really couldn't do anything.
Exactly.
Like, we wanted to, but you guys were really at the forefront. Like, no, we gonna take it upon ourselves, and then we go like the Pan African conferences and so many different things you guys did. Yeah, shout out to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just even just going there, like a lot of the African like cultures they couldn't help because we're on the other side of the world. Exactly, the resources, the culture, the knowledge as well. That's one thing that a lot of people
organize together. We couldn't organize together as a group of people. So
exactly, and I think it's like the biggest mess up ever in history is the mindset to create black division between ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we're divided across we're divided in mindset. We're like in this
in class.
In classes.
You think that you less of a nigga because you got a little bit more money.
Exactly, like that whole division between ourselves. And if you even think, I always bring my mom and parents always bring the example of like when let's say Asian person, say from Japan, comes over to this side of the world, they can always find a place where they can find a place they can speak that speaks the language that can cater to every part of their needs. They need the food, they need the market, they need everything that kind of caters to them. But like someone from Africa can't even come over to this side of the world.
Bro, do you know why? Do you know why? Kwame Ture actually said this. Shout out the Honorable Kwame Ture. He said this and it was so powerful. And I think he said one of the biggest reasons why Chinese people are able to come to any country in the world and generally have a respect about them, like we kind of know, like, oh, he's going to set up his business, is because China's doing well.
True.
And when your nation is doing well, then people are automatically going to respect the people of that nation. That is so true.
I didn't even know that. See, I opened my mind. I didn't even think about it like that, actually.
Like, that's the job, and that's what I'm saying is, like, for us as a people, as black people, like, we have to organize.
Facts.
Because it's like, you can talk all this, like, revolutionary Black Lives Matter and shit like that.
Right.
You're like, I'm one with the people. Kwame Ture said this. He was like, oh, you say, everybody says, I'm one with the people. But what organization have you joined?
None.
Any black organization to get anything done in your country?
None.
And it's
exactly.
Like, I had to say that even with myself. I talk about the spiritual person as a revolution, Pan-African. But I was like, but like, I'm not a part of any organization.
Yeah, no.
I gotta fix that right now. Like,
exactly. Joining these organizations, a lot of what we do is like social media just says, okay, put it on make a post about it.
It makes feel,
tweet about it, whatever. Yeah. But and it makes it look, it's nice. It looks nice.
It looks cool. It looks like,
but it doesn't mean you're actually actively being a part of the force for change.
Gary Vee said it. He said it makes clicking feel like you're joining.
Exactly. It
makes literally clicking.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I retweeted this.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a part of it now. I'm part of the people. I'm one of the people now. I'm one of the allies.
Yeah, I'm one of the allies. Yeah. Exactly. That's one thing that I kind of learned from Kwame Ture, and then we can definitely move on to the next topic. Is Kwame Ture showed me that, like, it doesn't matter what movement that you believe in, right?
Right.
So whether you're a Pan-African, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you believe in spirituality, whatever it is that you think, whether you're gay, whatever you think divides you to us as African people, the one thing that we can all agree on is that out of everything, before whatever your solution is to get to the thing, the first thing we all got to do is organize.
Facts.
No matter what you believe in.
Facts.
No matter what you think. So until we can get numero uno planned out, which is organization. So I don't want to hear no talk about, I went to the Diddy party and he taught me about world peace and shit. No. Did y'all organize? Did y'all sit down together and go, hey man, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what I'm going to do for this. Okay. Until you actually, like, organize. For example, I look at this organization that I have in South Africa with my coalition called this Collective Transcendence Organization.
Right.
If you are not organized, nothing gets done.
Facts.
I see black people talk a lot about, yo man, the world leaders betrayed us, I ain't doing nothing. So you gonna do nothing?
Right, exactly.
That's your solution. Your solution is I'm gonna do nothing.
Exactly.
And we're gonna progress somehow. But those same people will bitch and moan about nothing never changed, man. Black people always gonna be the same. It's like, me personally, I got to a point in 2022 where it's like, I'm only taking your advice if I see you got the experience behind it.
Exactly.
You get to talk shit to me. Like, Kwame Ture gets to talk all the shit about everything he wants, bro, because he's got the backing behind it.
Exactly.
But we as a people, man, we got to get to that organization. And it's easy. We already do it at link-ups and shit like that. Yeah. So just link up around, like, yo, freedom. And we all want it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. Let's go. Let's see if we can transition to this next topic. You can talk about art and fashion. We can kind of throw that out there. You mentioned you are doing a clothing line as well.
Yes, sir. I got the JID collection coming out soon.
I'm also doing a clothing line. It's called ND. It's or Nathaniel Dominic's my middle name. I just took inspiration, and one night, drunken night, we're talking with a friend, and she mentioned, "Hey, your name sounds like something that's very fancy." So kind of put that into like a clothing line. So I'm gonna. I'm starting with streetwear, but like as I progress, I will be getting into like different clothing as well. Probably doing like flannels, t-shirts,
nice,
jeans,
bro. You definitely
like
need some.
That.
I'm getting some Sinatra flannels for sure.
Right, exactly. At some point it's gonna go down like that. But
we gotta link up on some distant future. Like
definitely, man. See? But yeah, like even just like the fashion world right now, it's insane. We have masterminds like Kanye, like driving the way with his Yeezy line and and we're not sponsored by this, Kanye at all in any way, but we just love what he's doing right now.
My brother, you be wilding sometimes. Right. You gotta calm down. Exactly. But I love you. You can't even say that you're an artist in 2022, especially if you're black, and not say that you're not a mold of Kanye.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, he drove the force Drake, Travis,
like
a lot of the
Gambino,
exactly.
His pride,
oh my goodness!
Childish Gambino's out here killing it,
right? Have you been watching his Atlanta show?
Yes.
Oh
I'm
my
on
goodness!
Season 3 right
that
now.
Show,
season 4?
Yeah, season 3 going to season 4. Oh my goodness!
God. That first episode with
the boy. And my thing is what I like about Childish Gambino and like that Atlanta, what he does is he tackles certain like real life issues, puts it in a dramatic sense, but there's still at the end of the day you can still kind of learn a lesson out of it, the underlying message out of it, and sometimes it kind of comes off of as like sarcastic in a sense, and a little bit
like the one with the Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Like, that was we know what he's talking about.
Well, you know what you're saying. It's kind of sarcastic with it, but like I understand the message what he's going for, but I do think it's a brilliant show how he's writing it because I feel like he's the top writer on. Obviously, he has people writing and directing each episode, but
no, him and
it's
a really. I haven't watched Abbott Elementary.
Right.
Like
it's a good show.
Quinta
oh my goodness,
is killing it. I love that because
it's
goodness. Like watching her come up from like memes and BuzzFeed.
Right. And
I was there for that. Like I literally watch BuzzFeed's episode all the time. And now she's like this huge Oscar winner.
Literally, like it's insane, and that's like kind of my. I'm trying to get to that point as well. Even as a black filmmaker, as a black creator. Is just getting to that point where I'm like, steadily climbing and getting up there,
Sorry.
No, you do your thing. Talking to you.
I was going to say, it's like one thing that I was kind of keep in mind is like, look how long it took her though.
Oh my goodness.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Look how long it took her.
Right.
But look at all the milestones she was clearing along the way.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I keep in mind as an independent artist is that like, sometimes we're always kind of told like, don't be indie because you got to put up all the money yourself and da. And it's like, you're right. I'm not going to be able to do the freaking like 500,000 music video right away. You're right. But I'm going to be able to link up with this person. I'm going to be able to do this. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I've accomplished by the time I got to that level. The reason why I can do that 500,000 music video is I at least had to make a couple 100,000 beforehand.
Exactly. And this one thing I will say I do struggle with a bit is the fact that I want the immediate success, and we were talking about it on the ride over here. It's to get to the immediate success. Like even last night, I kind of get on my social media. I kind of post my thoughts here and there. Some people it may come off as dark,
real shit too. Like,
but I be on the real shit sometimes. But sometimes I be on my bullshit. Sometimes I be on my emotional shit, and I just kind of like I said, you don't get the immediate gratification of what your passion, so you kind of feel bad about it. It's
you start doubting yourself.
Exactly,
like, am I tripping? Am I the one that's wrong? Like,
am I doing this right? Am I saying this right? Like, or the response that you're getting isn't the one you would dream it could be, and it's like, it's kind of depressing. And even like seeing people doing it so much better than you, and getting all this praise and regard, like, oh my goodness, you're doing so well. Why am I even doing this? You think like, why am I even doing this at this point? Like, But I will say though, it is very it's like very gratifying to hear like people that are like. You consider better than you, or the people that you look up to. I would say is probably a better way of saying that is, them saying, "Bro, you're doing good. You're doing an amazing job."
Speaking of it, I think that's something that I was kind of like keep in mind is like I love that you said that because it's like when I first started, I'd have people like Cassidy, the battle rapper, like he'd be checking my stories, he'd be like hitting me up. Like I had so many people with blue check marks and that we know in the culture when I first started. Like I had shout out Trevor oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Oh my god not Trevor Wallace, oh my god, I've forgotten his name. I'm so sorry for forgetting his name, but he's such a huge influence to me because it's like I used to dance to this dude's music when I was like in school and shit. I used to take dance. I used to do hip hop.
Exactly.
So I did that, and then when I dropped I want to say the Road to Renaissance Man. Yeah. It was around the time that I dropped Road to Renaissance Man that like reached out, he just hit my story and shit like that. I was like, yo, bro, like I really fuck with what you got going. And I was like, yo, bro, like give me any advice and stuff like that. Yeah. He said something that I always love. He said, don't use other people as your metric of whether or not you did a good job.
Facts.
And that was... It's so much easier, Facts. When he first said that to me, I was like, man, easier for you to say you got the blue check marks, you live your life, But I started looking at it and I was like, no, you're right. Like, as an artist, you have to have a why.
Yeah, exactly.
And like your why is like, why are you doing this? Like, what makes you like jump up in the morning? Yeah. So for me, I started realizing that like as artists, especially again on the independent route, just on the indie route, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's all just clouds all the way there.
Facts.
They be trying to make us delusional with that shit. Like,
Facts.
I also suffer from sometimes like wanting to get things right away.
Right.
But I start realizing that like, yo, bro, if somebody gave me $500,000 right now, I'd probably fuck it up.
Right. Honestly,
I've never had that much money and have to locate it here and locate it here.
Yeah.
That's not like $5,000, $10,000. You can put it into one project.
Exactly.
No, $500,000 is like that's like company making money.
Exactly.
Bro. Like,
exactly.
So you really realize that, like, okay, first and foremost, do you know lawyers?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Like,
exactly.
We as people, especially on the indie side, I see people just kind of talk shit, about like major labels and stuff like that, and we should because
exactly,
awful.
Of course, it's, you know.
Awful. But at the same time, it's like we have to look at it. It's like Young Dolph, Nipsey Hussle, Mac Miller.
Right.
These are all great independent artists.
Exactly.
And what they had going on for them is that they had a team.
Exactly.
They were organized.
Exactly. They had people behind them. Exactly. Like you said, like you mentioned, lawyers, like defending, like
appraisers,
people who are like kind of keeping the machine going. You know, like they're not just the face to be like, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. Like they have like the people like bodyguards even. Even what happened with rest in peace PNB Rock, man, rest in peace him.
That hurt my heart.
But like they like guys like that. They had like they needed to understand like they needed the people to kind of be surround them and kind of keep them protected because even having people you trust, because trust is important, and like even though
trust is the so crazy. It's so crazy. I was telling my dog, I was like, trust is so important in business, like at the upper levels.
Yeah.
That like that's how you even start negotiations in business.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was talking to my dog one time. One of my dogs like he make money and shit like that, so he cool. He getting it out fashion way. Yeah. So he's like, man, we good, man. I was like, we good. And I was like, bro, your money is only impressive because other niggas don't got bread like that.
Facts.
When you're surrounded by other people who have money,
exactly,
they don't care about the fact that you have. Even if you have $10 million more than them, they still more than pay.
Yep. Yeah, that's what they say. Like make your idols your peers. So you can look at them on the same level. Facts. You're not idolizing the idea of being on their level. It's like you're already on their level, or you're
getting close to that sphere.
Right, exactly. And that's why I don't feel like personally I would be starstruck by like anybody especially I look up to.
I got a few people. I'm not gonna lie.
Right, I'm not saying if it's wrong that you are, but I'm saying I feel like I would be.
But that's good though. That's a great mentality to have. Because I feel like exactly. Because I might get bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay might come up to me like, "It's The Rock." I'm like, "It's different."
Exactly. But even like being in their presence, I would be like, okay, how can I make a business opportunity out of this? Like, how can I, elevate myself? I'm not asking for a hand. I'm not saying just like put me on. I'm not saying the end of that. I'm saying like, hey, how can I
display my talent?
Let me
show you my skills.
Let me show you my skills. Let me link up with you. Let me get your information down so we can make each other money. Facts. You know what I mean? So, but it goes back to your point.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, kind of bring it back. It's like. I think that organization thing is so deep. It's like, because you said something that made me think is like, here in the West, because we're like, the people who created capitalism, we are so individualistic.
Man.
And we've created this lie. I'm going to emphasize, we've created this lie. Of this thing of like, I'm the one person who did everything and I just did it. I'm self-made. I'm a self-made millionaire.
Exactly.
You know how many people it takes to create a self-made millionaire? Like, so I just realized that, like, again, it's like when and this is why I urge my people, African people, go back home, bro.
Facts.
Go back home. Because when you're stuck in the sauce, bro, you don't realize you're stuck in the sauce.
Man.
And it's, until you go back home, you start traveling. Like, just travel. Even if you don't go back, just travel.
Exactly.
Go to Europe, see how they're doing. Oh, man, they only work 4 days out of the week. We tripping over here.
Exactly. So, sorry, go ahead. Speaking on the speakers traveling, that's one thing I want to do in my life, though, is travel. Like, get culture.
Just top spots. Top 3 spots.
Japan. Japan, Greece. And I want to say Nigeria. I want to try African, country.
You have jollof?
Rice? Yeah, I have. Well, my aunt got a secondhand. I've had it authentically. My aunt had like a secondhand recipe. It was still great. Don't get me wrong. Right. But I haven't had it sat down and went to a spot where I actually have jollof rice. You
gotta have the auntie from the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's when you know it's real.
But this is the 3 places I want to genuinely see. How about you?
Man, currently right now, because of Renaissance, the album, I got one of the things I've always kind of been blessed with is I've gotten the opportunity to travel. Right. I tell my older brother, I'm like, bro, you don't understand how much you saved my life. I think I would have a lot of decisions that I've made now I wouldn't have made if I'd never had to travel. Right. Because when you leave your hood, bro, and you look at how small it is when you're on that plane, you're like, man, all my problems, all my stresses is in that
literally
shit. Is that something?
Wow. And oh my goodness.
It just changes everything. You're like, man, so I've traveled to a bunch of different places, so I don't really have too many on my bucket list, but there are places that I'd like to return to. Yeah. And definitely I'm trying to do my best, and I know that with God's grace I will go there. Right. Is go back to Paris.
That's also a good spot too.
Yeah, I gotta go back to Paris. Yeah. I definitely gotta go to Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta go to Japan, bro. Get lost in Shibuya for a bit.
Man, even the culture. I've been watching a lot of people who I watch a lot of food people do a lot of food.
Oh man, the food
and
over
YouTubers and everything. And it's a big culture. Japan, but one thing I respect the most about the Japanese people is that they're unapologetically themselves. They do whatever, if they have an interest in something, they do it, and they don't care what anyone else is thinking. They're constantly always trying to innovate. They're like, we probably have the best cars, we have the best this, this, that, and they're constantly always trying to improve. There's never a debate as to how they're gonna do it. They're just gonna do it.
Yeah, they're just gonna do it. They're like, we're gonna try the thing.
Right, exactly. They're building 10
They make fucking Megatron and shit.
Exactly, they're making 1,000 feet tall, anime,
No, but I was gonna say, you know what I love about Japan that low-key is my favorite thing about Japan is the craftsmanship.
Yes.
If you want to talk about a place that's low-key built by businessmen who are low-key artisans, Japan is the business land who's low-key an artisan.
Exactly.
From the food to even how they make the windows. They ain't gonna do it like us.
Exactly.
They gonna
sit down. Different. Exactly. They can do it different every time.
Yeah. And then I guess the last place that I definitely go to is I go back to I'll go to South Africa because again I got that organization.
Yeah, exactly.
So South Africa is Natal Zulu. You know what I'm saying? It's the birthplace. It's
exactly.
where we all come from. Every single human being in the world. We all come from South Africa.
Exactly.
So you got to go back and see where you come from because you don't know where you're going into.
Exactly, and that's unfortunate. A lot of us, Pan Africans, we didn't know where we're coming from. We're not a lot of us those who are native from there, they've been there. You guys came from there, but a lot of us we don't even know where to trace our ancestry because.
And even us who are on the continent doesn't mean that just because we're on the continent that we have knowledge.
Exactly.
A lot of us be lost, bro. I'm
exactly.
A lot of us be lost.
Yeah, exactly.
We got churches. We got a Christian church. We got a Christian church. We got a Christian church.
Exactly.
I ain't trying to judge on the Christians. I'm just trying to say we know why they're there.
Exactly.
So you're talking about art?
Yeah, art and fashion, and essentially, we kind of broke off talking about Kanye's line and everything. But
I wanted to get on that. I like that you said that.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to a point where, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that it's only because of the industry that I guess we're in. Our industry is very flashy.
True.
We have what Young Dolph called rich slaves.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Our culture rewards, specifically hip hop, the idea of the rich slave.
Man.
You got 3 Lamborghinis. You can't afford them bitches.
Right.
You're really broke.
It's for the appearances.
But you got 3 Lamborghinis outside. Man. So it's I started realizing I'm okay, I gotta choose my lane. I can choose to be the rich slave, or I can be the poor king.
Exactly.
So then I started realizing I'm okay, let's look at that word poor.
Right.
Because I'm looking at that word poor from a capitalist point of view.
Exactly. The financial. I don't have the money. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna pay my bills this week. That's the usually what's associated with poor or brokenness or whatever.
Exactly. So I started looking at that, and I started listening. I was okay. Well, let's look at the definition of what wealth is. Right. When you look at the definition of wealth, it rarely ever has to do with money.
Exactly.
It rarely ever has to do with money. So when I started looking at it that way, I'm I like to always look at like older, rich white people.
Right.
Because I don't really care about your money or how you made your money. That's your interest, unless I'm interested in that industry.
Facts.
But what I really care more about is I want to see what happens to a human being when they're free. That's what I'm really interested in. I'm like, what would I be like if I was free?
Wow.
And that's why I feel like Jaden Smith and Kanye West are iconic people.
Right.
Because whether you like it or not, and trust me, brother, Kanye, I love you, but you be tripping, bro.
Exactly. Facts.
When you look at it that way, you start realizing that, like, like, Kanye and Jaden are really just two rap people who showed you what it's like if you were free.
Wow.
If you were actually not always having to seek the validation of others, you didn't have to be a rich slave, if you didn't have to conform to these ideas of culture, even though you know low-key these ideas of culture are toxic, you're still going to engage in it. If you didn't have to do any of the stuff that we identify as like being down with the culture, you'd be like, oh, well, first, before I was the culture, I was human.
Exactly. I was just like a normal kid, every day going out.
And that's why I feel like people like Kid Cudi, Jaden Smith, and Kanye are so good, because it's like, not everybody's Jay-Z, bro.
Facts.
Not everybody lost 90 bricks, bro. Like, not everybody's like 50 cents who got shot and stuff like that. Like, the rest of us, the large majority of us, have not done that stuff.
Right, and I feel like even people like that are kind of going back to how hip hop started. Like you said, peace, love,
unity,
and unity.
And
just having fun. And that was the mindset. So it wasn't about me being the hardest nigga in the world.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't me about being like the toughest guy or I got the most girls.
So crazy. It used to be the coolest rapper was the smartest rapper.
Exactly.
Like Rakim, the God MC. Yeah, you were king because how smart you were. You knew words that other people didn't know. LL Cool J be fucking people up with the words.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I said, like people like that, like Kanye and Kid Cudi, all of them, like they brought it back to what it was initially is, and I think I'm glad to see that we're kind of seeing that a lot more artists. We're kind of seeing that it's a vibe. Hip hop music is a vibe. It's not one. It doesn't have to be on one topic and different topics. Like even your music, I would say, is artistic in the sense that it doesn't just try and do one thing. You can tell a story. You can tell a story without having to be like, I was from the bottom. I did this. I did that. I struggled. Da 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 da. Like you can tell like all these different stories. You don't have to be in one mind frame, and that's why I don't like when people say, "Oh, hip hop damaged."
Bro, or hip hop is dead.
It's like hip hop is dead.
Oh, rap music ain't lit no more.
It's like, or hip hop is the reason that people are doing this.
That's like saying photography is dead.
Exactly.
How?
I don't care if there's like 30 iPhones coming in the next future. There's still going to be a use for people with those cameras.
Bro, I'm looking at, for example, like I look at people like S. Devlin, who's like an amazing architect.
Right.
I look at there's this dude named Warwick Saint. Warwick is this amazing photographer. Him and David LaChapelle are like Warwick makes a lot of these like landscape kind of photography. Like you ever seen like those Naomi Campbell's when he's running with the cheetah type stuff, that type of energy. And then David LaChapelle obviously makes like these grandiose, bigger than life kind of like pictures. And when you look at those two people, it's like, I don't give a fuck if you come out with an iPhone 33 that got VR technology. You're not taking away Dave LaChapelle's job.
Exactly.
You're not taking that away.
Facts.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna, I guess, go into our last topic. We're approaching 45-minute app. So like we're gonna get into like a different territory.
Please. I want to take it over.
Thoughts on dating? Because you mentioned you had like a relationship with a girl before. So,
multiple.
The topic is. Dating at your potential versus dating at where you are. What's like versus the different? What's the difference? We're going to talk about that. I know we're gonna get a little off topic. We're gonna kind of doing a kind of like a 180 with the topic, but I want to hear your thoughts on that. We're gonna repeat it one more time.
Please.
Dating at someone's potential versus dating where they are.
Okay, I love that. So this is a two-folded thing, and I think that there is a quote-unquote gender aspect to it, but I really do think that there's more of a humanist aspect. Again, as a Pan-African, the philosophical nature of Pan-Africanism is humanist. So when I look at it from that perspective, I see that dating someone for their potential is dating somebody for an expectation. That's what it is. You're dating somebody for this expectation.
Right.
That's what you call the potential. They didn't come up to you and told you, hey, this is my potential.
Exactly.
You dreamed up this potential in your head. And I've been guilty of this.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm with you on that.
Even to go off of that, it's like, you kind of see where they could potentially be going. Yeah. Like, and some people, it's a good thing. You want to see where people are going.
There's a lot of people who bet on me that I needed
exactly.
when I didn't myself.
And it doesn't even have to just be in like in a like relationship, like boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Right. It can just be in the friendship. Like my friends are around me because they see that I'm going places, and they're always like putting that the energy into you. But yeah, like you said, like they get it's good to have those people, like kind of seeing where you could go. Rather than. So
I was going to continue this. It's like, so that's the first aspect, right? Dating for potential is dating for expectation.
Facts.
But then, if you're dating people for where they're at, me personally, I think that's the most realistic thing.
Facts.
The reason why is because, again, the other aspect of Pan-Africanism is that our disposition, the way that we would naturally approach situations and topics, is from a materialist point of view.
Wow.
Because we understand that economy is based on nature.
Facts.
What you call resources is just nature.
It's nature, exactly.
So we understand that, like, okay, we are materialists. So if you look at it from that point of view, a potential is an expectation in my head.
Right.
There's a 50% chance, a little less, but 50% chance that I could believe in you, bet in you, and you happen to see it in you. Very important that you happen to see it in you.
Facts.
Believe in me. We can work on that thing to achieve your greatness.
Exactly. And that's what they go on to say. Like, do you believe that like someone should? I wouldn't say sacrifice what they're doing to see their partner go forward.
I think we all have sacrifices.
True. I know that. You're definitely right. Like, but like, it's like the question. Like, would you think that you should? I don't say sacrifice, but do you think you should put yourself into helping them be great, or should you be? I love this. I just want to share my thoughts. Like, or should you just be like, I'm gonna sit in the background. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna plug you. I'm gonna my significant other's doing this, doing that, this and that. Like, are you the type of person where, let's say they have a business, they have a clothing line or something like that. Like, I guess we're talking about it. Are you the type of person who's gonna make the business card? Are you gonna run the? Are you gonna run the website? Are you gonna set up appointments? Are you gonna be that support? I think a lot of us, we could get a lot farther. If we had those people in our lives that are kind of like, okay, let me kind of be this person for you. Let me kind of be your secretary. Let me be your this, let me be your that, to help push you forward if they truly believe in where you're going. But let me get you to your point, because I know you want to say, you're jumping on something. You want to say something.
I'm trying to hold on to this video so I can make sure it's all cohesive.
Right.
But no, it's like, I'll say first thing first is, no one is gonna do that until they see that you're doing it for yourself.
Facts.
That's one thing I learned for myself.
Facts.
I learned that, and Guru used to tell this to me. Guru used to be like, yo, bro, if I'm just keeping it a buck with you, nobody is going to believe you until they can see the thing in their hand.
Facts.
So I realized that there's two type of people, because I also remember what the scripture says, what the Bible says.
Exactly.
The Bible says, blessed are those who see without their eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
But the kingdom of heaven is there.
Exactly.
So I understand there's two types of people. Right. There's people who are like, show me, then I believe you. Yeah. Then there's people who are like, nah, I already know what you got going on. When you first heard of Walt Disney, he was making Disneyland.
Right.
If you're an artist, you're like, I already know it. Come on, you got this. You got it. I'm all money in.
Yeah.
But there's other people, we're kind of looking at Disneyland like, I don't know, man. You're going to spend how much money? You're going to work Florida?
Man.
So I realized, to bring it back to the dating thing, it's one aspect is definitely dating for potential, right?
Yeah.
But then another aspect is, I think this is the part that always makes me laugh about relationships, especially when I see it in our generation. Are you in a relationship, which means a partnership?
Right.
Or are you in a business, which is transactional? Those are two different things. If you're in a relationship, you're in a partnership.
Exactly.
That means
it's two parties.
Which means that I pick up the slack for you when you can't.
Exactly.
And you pick up the slack for me when I can't. That's a partnership. We're equal yokes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I think our generation is missing. We don't fully understand the levity of what it means to be in a relationship with someone, and like a full-time, like loyal relationship. A lot of us don't fully understand that
because we think we can always do better.
Exactly, and that,
for no reason. For no reason.
It's like, let me, like, when let's say like a baby, when they first taste ice cream,
right?
They eat the ice cream for the first time, like, oh my goodness, like, it unlocked so like their brain. Now they're gonna constantly always want it. Right. Now you're gonna tell the kid, oh, you can't have ice cream for breakfast. You can't have extra for breakfast. You can't have ice cream for things, but they're always gonna constantly chase that. If people are constantly think, okay, I'm gonna get my ice cream, or I'm just get my ice cream. I'm constantly checking my ice cream. I didn't like this flavor. I'm gonna get to the next flavor. I think this next flavor is gonna be my favorite, because the last one I thought was my favorite, but it really isn't.
No. You think like, oh, I can go and get me a next flavor, and if this don't work out, I can always go back to the last flavor. That's what it really is. Because if you knew that this shit was a round one thing done, you wouldn't be making them sacrifices like that. You're like, nah. In the back of my head, he'll spin the block.
Exactly.
So. I'll to kind of continue to answer your answer. Like one thing I've learned is when you have a partnership with somebody, and this is just something I learned from the multiple relationships that I'm in, that I've been in. I'm sorry. One thing that I've come to learn is that first and foremost, women, specifically because as a Pan-African, I'm dating black women. Black women are some of the most amazing, intelligent, compassionate.
Facts.
And just overall create, I really see how we influence each other. How the black men influence the black women, how the black women influence the black man. Like, I see it because it's like we get our swag from our women, bro. Mm-hmm. Like when you see, I see when women, I'm like, we get our swag from them, and then you see the way that they manner themselves. Like that's us.
Exactly.
That's us.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
When I look at it that way, it's like there's a great pastor that says something that I always kind of keep in mind. He said, if you take wood and you take iron, right? If you take that axe and you put it constantly against wood, what's going to happen to that axe? It's going to dull.
Exactly.
But why is it going to dull?
Right.
It's going to dull because it's not made of the same material.
Right, that it's hacking at. Exactly.
So that's what I've come to the realization is that I truly, this is my personal sentiment, I truly believe that you should not be settling when you're entering a relationship. Because those low flags that you think that, we can work, that's the shit you're going to break up over.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to break up over those low red flags and shit.
Exactly.
So my whole thing is this is kind of how I do it is, I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk a bit about the courting process. Because I think that's a message that we all as a generation need to hear.
Right.
So basically is this, it's like, I realize this is that when you have a relationship, you're realizing that you're equal yoke to this person.
Right.
I want to see the best in you. Why? Because the best in you makes me happy.
Exactly.
That's how I know I love you.
Exactly.
Because your happiness makes me feel happy.
Exactly.
And my happiness makes you feel
happy. And it's genuine happiness.
It's genuine.
And even I just want to say even despite the drama of the Smith family, Will Smith, all of them,
beautiful family.
It's a beautiful family. Don't get me wrong, and I do appreciate though. There was a time where they said that they kind of separated for a bit, but they kind of had to separate to find each other's own happiness, and then come together and find that middle place,
you guys can
so they can grow. And that's one thing I kind of respect from that. It's like you can those long-term relationships. That's how it happens. Because shout out to Kev on stage.
Shout out Kev on stage. Love this brother though.
Yeah, I love him. He was talking about his relationship with his wife. They've been together probably 15 years, if I'm mistaken. And they're talking about how the person you're with, they're constantly changing. Every 5 years, every 10 years, they're constantly changing. And if you're not keeping up with those changes, and if you're not even keeping up with your own changes and your own growth, you could possibly fumble that person, slip them out of the bag because, you think some things are okay, and if you're not having those conversations, you're not having that heart to heart. Then you're literally losing that person.
And see, it's communication.
Exactly, communication is important.
So watch, I have a step. My family, I look at my family as they've had many successful marriages and long-term marriages. I come from a family of long-term marriages. So that isn't a blessing that I didn't come to appreciate until I got older.
Right.
And you start hanging out with your dogs and shit like that, and you start seeing what the average kind of looks like in our community, and you're like, oh, like, man, it's a blessing if you can figure out like this shit really. And what I figured out is, for my family, and then I've seen it for myself, and that's why I'm gonna wait until I meet that right person.
Right.
Is there used to be a 4-step process to marrying someone.
Right.
4-step process was you court them.
Right.
Then you date them.
Right.
Then you get engaged. Then you get married. And those stages wasn't 2 weeks or 6 months.
Exactly.
It was a couple of years.
Exactly.
Like if you did everything right, 5 years later, you're married.
And that's the thing, like, ladies, don't take offense to the fact that a man is waiting, that 5 years, maybe 10 years to get married to you, because
it's a process.
It's a process. And not everyone's going to be ready in the first 6 months.
I don't know about 10 years because that's wild, but like, I'll give you that one when you say 5 years. Is because I think to a lot of women, sometimes they can kind of look at it as like, I'm the catch. Like, this is what the game is about. And they're not wrong.
Exactly. Of course, exactly.
They know what the game is about. Exactly. So it's like, my whole thing is this, though, is that, like, ladies and men, because I think that we as men don't really see our worth a lot. Right. We're just kind of told to be like, yo, you're the dude who's got dick and money, so just shut the fuck up. And that's not true. It's like, men and women, it's like when we start seeing each other, we start seeing that, like, okay, going back to what I said before, not settling when you first meet each other.
Facts.
Like, this whole notion of like, oh, I can work on him.
Yeah,
she's good. I know she's a little detached, but like, I know when she warms up to me.
The thing about us humans, we're so weird. We want projects. We don't want the easy way out of anything. We don't want the process. Like we want the hard way of things. Like, oh, let me kind of nudge this person in the right direction, because we feel like we can save her. But
it's like a square, but we're trying to make it a triangle so badly. We're like, triangle, please, come on, bro.
And that's the thing. That's what, going back to the point of mental health, is it's important that you have your strength of your mental health, because if you're a damaged person, you're another damaged person. You're clashing all the time. Boom, it breaks.
Let me tell you a crazy story, and then
you make it worse.
Yeah, I'll tell you one crazy story, and then you can get to the next one. I remember one time I was with one of my ex-girlfriends. Right. Me and her were like super toxic.
Right.
Like Kendrick Lamar type shit. Like super toxic with each other. And I remember at one point, it was so funny because it was like, we had our back and forth. Right. And then at some point, there was one day where it was just like, man, like, this shit is not gonna work unless we sit down together at the table and realize that, it's not me versus you.
Exactly.
It's me and you versus this problem.
Exactly.
And again, let's not mess up. I always give people grace. It's so much easier to say this shit. Right. It's so like when you're calm, cool, and collected, you can say a lot. I hear people say a lot of stuff when they're calm, cool, and collected. Right. Like, but when you're actually going through the heat of emotion, especially with someone that loves you, because here's the thing: when they love you, that means they can hurt you the most.
Exactly. And because they know you're the most vulnerable with them. They know everything about you.
But also because you're more vulnerable around them.
Exactly.
Like the vulnerability you have with me is a certain vulnerability.
Exactly.
But the vulnerability you're going to have with your daughter or your wife, that's going to bring out a different side of you. So it's something that I was going to keep in mind, is to bring it back, is like partnerships can be kind of seen as expectations. If you want to know a rule for 2022, how to get into how to have a successful relationship, my biggest advice is this: get a partner who is of the same material as you. They're built like you. You cut from the same cloth as you. Don't mess around. Please don't. Oh, I can change. Water can't change into oil. No matter how much you want to change water.
You can't mix that. You can't mix none of that.
Water and oil don't mix.
Exactly.
So get somebody of the same material. And then secondly, more importantly, do not settle. It does not make you selfish. It does not make you bougie. It does not make you none of these things. Because at the end of the day, you're the one sustaining that relationship.
You value yourself to the point where you're not just gonna
not even value. You're the one who not burdens, but you're the one who goes through the journey of that relationship. I can come up to you and be like, yo, Sanaji, come on, that girl, bro, she perfect for you. You should be getting her. But you're like, yo, P, I respect it. But I get in a relationship with this girl, you have to put up with her. You have to. I'm
at the end of the day.
Smoking a split, getting head from some next show.
Right, exactly. So only the second hand thing. You're not actually like seeing what's going on behind closed doors. And
then the last thing I would say.
Yeah.
People say that this is like a don't, but I think this is a do.
Right.
I always talk about how every man and woman needs wise counsel.
Right.
Not counsel.
Right.
Wise counsel.
Exactly.
So don't just get homies, have them around, you smoking the shit, and y'all think that's wise counsel. I did that shit. I thought that shit was wise counsel. That's just not wise. That's just the homies, bro.
We love the homies, but
we love the homies. The homies are there for us. You know, every time that we need some shit, y'all there. Yeah. But it's like, that's not wise counsel. You need wise counsel. People who, like, when you're going through financial situations, when you're going through emotional situations, when you're going through spiritual health, and you got a problem with faith. Yeah. If you have an issue with faith, do you even know who to go to right now? Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that's what I started looking at is keep a wise counsel. When you keep that wise counsel, this is the other important part, is have people that you and your partner, your girl, you and your man, whoever you guys are, have people that you guys can go to at the last end. Let me tell you why that's important. People try to do this whole like, don't bring your friends in, and I get it, because y'all got some trash friends. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Got some trash friends. But what I would say is, wise counsel, think of a council. A council is usually 2 or 3 people. Exactly. A council is not 15 people. It's not a group chat. It's not a WhatsApp. It's not a social media movement. It's really those 2 or 3 people who, like, at the end of the day, like, yo, you love me. You don't want me fucking up out here. Exactly. Am I fucking up out here, bro?
Yeah, exactly. And be honest with me.
And it's like, you need those people, and your girl needs those people. Yeah. And keep it a buck. This one's something I've come to learn is your girl and your partner needs to be able to have some sort of relationship with your other counsel. Let me tell you why. I've come to learn this very deeply. Because if you on both counsel have a rapport, you guys don't have to agree, but you have a rapport with each other. That means that if some shit goes down, because of the love, I look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm not surprised they didn't split up. You know how many people are behind them? Like, y'all are crazy, bro. Who you gonna go? You gonna go date Drake, B? So that's what you need. You need wise counsel who let you know that, like, hey, you're going through a moment. You're gonna have moments. This is a relationship. You're gonna have bumps in on the road. But that's not the regular. The regular is that stability that you decide, that sense of peace, all of those things.
At the end of the day, like, that's the person I'm seeing every day. This person I'm like
that you love to see every day. That you're grateful that you're still here after all the shit that I've gone through. Because here's the thing. The cool guy shit, the cool girl stuff, that lasts a couple weeks, couple months. But eventually your partner will see you for who you are. And then the real thing is, oh shit, you stuck around? Right. Like, I got all these fuck ups. I got all this shit. But you're still here.
Like, despite the bad habits. Despite, I might chew my mouth open and you don't like
you might hate the way I eat chips and shit.
Like, it's a little ticks that you don't like, but you're still around. Exactly.
And I think that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. So we're gonna come to the end of our of the show today. Appreciate you coming out, P.
Oh man, thank you, man. Thank you.
Great. This is episode 1. This is a strong episode. I feel like we had a lot to say today. I don't know exactly when episode 2 will be coming, but stay tuned for that. I'm gonna recycle. I can recycle and cycle different people
different clips
here and there. Exactly, different clips there. Exactly, and definitely stay tuned and see. We're gonna have some good time just here chilling, talking.
I will say this though too, like, because I'm gonna plug myself again.
Yeah, exactly. Before we end, like, just want to plug yourself, plug your clothing line, whatever. Instagram, for the people.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, you can get me on Instagram at Plamedi 100. That's good to get me at. I would say that, because I always like to leave with like a little tidbit at the end of my whole thing. Is one, thank you for everybody listening. Renaissance Man album coming out soon. This is the future, the wave. You know what I'm saying? KSL, the gang. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll tell them where we can find that as well.
Yes, again, you can get me at Plamedi 100 on Instagram. You can find me on Spotify and all streaming platforms. I'm Plamedi. That's Plamedi. And that's where we'll get you like most of my link to music and everything else. If you got me on Instagram, you'll understand everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna leave with this message before we did. first and foremost, I'm super glad that you did this. Let me tell you why I'm super glad you did this.
Yeah.
Because black media is important. And I'm going to tell you why black media is important specifically. I was doing some research on history, specifically black history, especially in America.
Right.
And when you look at a lot of like the revolutions and movements and grassroots movements and stuff like that were started back in the days, the people who always helped us mobilize and move, the Million Man March, so many different movements.
Right.
The black media was always at the forefront. Because how are we going to know? You think your enemy is going to give you an update on when the next black meeting is?
No.
When the next revolutionary, like, they ain't going to do that.
Exactly.
So you need your people to be able to have the real conversation. And then more importantly, what allows this is when we're part of black media, I can be myself, man. If I'm having a certain type of conversation, I gotta speak a certain type of way because it's a different culture.
Exactly.
It's a different type of ethics over there.
We're code switching is what they call it.
Exactly. We gotta code switch. Exactly.
Exactly.
But when you're among your own, we can talk how we want to talk to. We understand each other where we're coming from, and we can have certain conversations. And I think that this is our thing that we're really now looking at as a people sometimes is the fact that you're different is not the cage. It's the freedom. The fact that you're different, that you see things from a different perspective, that's the reason why people will pay you. No one is going to pay you to be the same.
Facts.
They just going to get the shit from the person who made it.
Facts.
So when you look at it from that perspective, I say this to my black people all over the world, across the African diaspora. I say like, one, first and foremost, organize with your brothers and sisters. Stop looking at black people as if we're the enemies. We're not the enemies. All this black on black crime shit that they got y'all believing, that's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because you can look at every single country in the world. They got Asian on Asian crime. They got white on white crime. It ain't nothing. It's just part of being a part of a culture. Any type of culture that you're in, you're going to have more of that happening in that culture. So start happening with your brothers and sisters and realizing that, like, we are not going to be able to help ourselves out of this situation without others. You're not going to become that millionaire without other people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to become that CEO that you want to become without some employees. So stop shitting on 9-to-5s. Like, you're not going to become this great family person without some family and a beautiful wife or a beautiful partner for yourself. Like, whatever you're going to need people. You're going to need the people.
Facts.
That's why in the beginning, Kwame Ture says something that I always love. He says, the truth is so powerful that even liars put their hands up when they must. I'll give you an example.
Right.
Who here wants to make the world a better place? Even liars will put their hand up.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Because they understand that's how powerful the will and the unity of the people is. The people only organize around what's going to benefit the people.
Fact.
As they should. So my last thing I would tell to people is, if you're an artist, if you're independent, if you're just going on this journey of pursuing your dream and believing in what you do, one, keep at it. Always keep God first. Always keep God first, because there's going to be moments in time when you're going to need that faith, and that's when you're going to realize how, like, who God really is. Everybody got, I don't really believe in God. Yeah, die, bro. Come close to death. Then you'll be like, hey, I don't know, man. There might be something out there. Like, so I would say, like, faith is going to get you a long way. Hard work and dedication is going to get you there.
Fact.
But more importantly, the people are going to get you there.
Exactly.
Me, I talk about this all the time, and I'm saying this and I'm doing this interview with you so I can hold myself again. I want y'all 15 years from now when I'm doing some Kanye Wild shit to be like, nah, bro, remember this interview when you were all about this? Like, I think about that because it's like, I am nothing. I think about this often, and I try to keep it in my mind always. Because I'm doing a lot of great things. I could get big-headed all day long if I wanted to. But what always keeps me calm, centered, and loving, and happy that I can smile all the time is that I know that I am a reflection of the people. I am nothing without the people. Everything that I've ever done has required people. Everything that I've ever... Making music, like, make fashion... Like, whatever I've ever wanted to do, doing this for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Photography, anything. Like, you need the people, and as long as you start looking at the people as like, I say this all the time. If you think that the average person is lazy, incompetent, and asleep, then that's what you think the world is. So you're never gonna bet on the people because you think that the people are lazy, incompetent, and selfish. So when I started looking at it from the perspective of like, well, let's look at my life.
Right.
The amount of when I needed help and I was going through homelessness, the government didn't help me. The people helped me. The government helped me from time to time, which is why the government should be helping us as a people. Right. But the people help me. When I ain't got no food in the fridge, who's gonna help you out? The people.
Exactly.
When you're starting your venture capital, your business or whatever, who's gonna be your first early investor? The people. Exactly. Gold Satchman and freaking Warren Buffett don't care about your business when you're starting up.
Exactly.
So we always take the people for granted, and then like we use them when we get to this higher level.
Right.
So the thing that I would say to the people is, are you not tired? Are you not tired of always like being taken advantage of? And if you are tired and you're like, I genuinely want to do something about it, organize with your family. There's so much money out there that I didn't know that we had, bro, if we just got into group economics. Do you know how much money I save just going to you and not going to another photographer?
Yeah.
Do you know how much money I save when I can go get the beats from Sage?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we look at that as like, oh, that's not lit. The lit thing is like, let me go spend $5,000 to show people I got this like $5,000 music video. And it's like, for what? For what? The people who are going to enjoy this is who? The people.
The people, exactly.
And guess what people enjoy? The people enjoy what they're a part of. And that's all I wanted to say. So independent artists.
Yeah, take that advice.
Yes, sir, man.
Yeah, like I said, this is coming to the end. You know, this was great. You know, it was, like I said, appreciate you for coming out, man.
Always dope making up with you, man.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
African people stand up, man.
Yeah. Also, we are shooting in the Chris, the Urban
10:15, check this out.
10:15, the Urban Barbershop.
Yeah, yo, this mural is sick.
This is a dope mural as
Shout
well.
Out Derek's, man.
Derek's, yeah, man.
It's beautiful, man. This barbershop is amazing.
Yeah, man, this is dope, man. Yeah,
we do what we can do. So.
Yeah, you're doing well, my nigga.
You're doing what you do. Exactly, supporting black businesses.
Yes, sir. We got to, man. We all we got, like I keep saying.
Exactly. We're out there, and we're all we got at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So
that's how it should be.
Exactly. And with that being said, we're gonna cut it. You guys have a good day. Check me out. All my social media will be in the link in the bio. This is going up on my YouTube page as well. Check that out. And holla at your boy. Share the video if you can. Like it, comment, whatever. Maybe comment some topics you want to see discussed next time. If you want to hear our thoughts, maybe see P again. You may see someone else again. You know, I'm gonna talk to a couple people to get some more guests on the show. But this was awesome.
I got a few recommendations for you still.
Yeah, awesome. All right, bro. All right, we're gonna with that. You know, we're gonna cut out. Peace.